Okay, Kenzie, Adam asked in the last segment about the origins of naturopathy, but we want to know how you took that specific path. And then I'd really like to know, let's say I walked into Taylor's Herbs and I'd made an appointment with you to see you.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to know your process because people out there are really curious. Some people have no idea, just like they think chiropractors, put people in
Right.
the hospital. They want to know about naturopathy. So do a little walkthrough for me
Well,
of what it's
yeah,
like.
but I really want to hear a story. I want to finish
Oh,
out
yeah,
the
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
How did you find the naturopathy route?
So I
You know,
just,
we learned about your chiropractor, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
now your family must think you're even more crazy.
Um, yes, yeah, for sure. I mean, actually, some of them thought I was throwing my dream away,
Right.
you know, which I get.
Yeah.
That's what I said I wanted to do my whole life. I actually, even my Nana, she reminded me, she's like, when you were 3, you were telling me this, like you were going to be a doctor.
Right. You want to be a healer.
Yes. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll be a teacher, which of course, doctor means teacher.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Let's do that again.
You're okay.
Go ahead.
And so, anyway, because I wanted to teach people as well. And so, really, what I look at what I do now is I'm more of a teacher. Traditionally, you go into a medical office, they say, oh, you have pain. Here's the pain pill, but they don't discuss the origins of pain or what causes the pain. Or is it a nerve root issue? Is it a subluxation like with chiropractic? Is
Right.
it a nutritional deficiency like low magnesium? They don't go into that. They just give you a pill and send you on your way. And so a lot of times when people come into my office, I'm training them like how their body works. I'm teaching them how their body works, basic function. And what I always tell my clients is the body is very complex, right? Because our creator is very complex. He made us in his image. Yet really simple. Really simple. You feed it, you water it, you give it some rest, move it every now and then. It works. It wants to work. It's a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
And
If you
so,
oil it and give it the right fuel.
right, right.
Designed to be optimally healthy, right? If we
Yes.
can just put the right components there, have the right tools in the
I'm like,
toolbox.
exactly. Let's put the puzzle pieces back together. Like, what are we missing? What's the missing link? Is it nutritional? Is it spiritual? Is it emotional? And that's my goal. That's holistic health, is looking at the
Awesome.
body as mind, body, spirit.
So which school did you end up going to?
I actually went to Trinity School of Natural Health. So it's out of Warsaw, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
And it was all correspondence. So really fun part of my story too, actually, guys, is I left, or I worked for the chiropractor. I ended up working in their office, and then was able to leave. And when the Lord called me to leave, I didn't know what I was going to do. I quit. We cried, and I walked into this little bitty herb store one day. I was 21 years old.
Oh, this is my favorite part of this
And
story.
the lady in there, she had the same last name. She went to Trinity. She was doing what I wanted to do. She was about 70 years old.
What?
And our husbands had the same birthday, different year.
Oh, my
Okay.
God.
And it's right in my neighborhood. Literally, I would drive by this store for 20 years.
Yeah,
So,
we actually moved into a neighborhood right across the main Northwest Expressway part there. And I just happened to see it one day driving. And so I stop in, we start talking, we have all this stuff in common. We come from the same area of Oklahoma, like around the Seminole to
What?
Comstock. Yeah, I mean, just bam, 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 bam. This is 2 weeks after the Lord told me to quit the chiropractors and start my journey.
Adam knows about those things called
Yeah.
confirmations, doesn't he? Anyway,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's a story for
So,
another day.
But you listened to the Lord when he told you to do this.
Yeah, trust and obey.
Oh, my gosh.
And really, I was just
Wow.
learning this. I had just been knocked off my feet, given my life back, and I'm like, okay, now what? So I'm literally at that place of I have nothing, I don't know.
Lord, you've told me to leave one thing. Where's the place I'm supposed to land?
Yes, exactly. So long story short, start training with her. She lets me sit in with her appointments. And one day, my husband was like, we've got to do this. We've got to do this. This is what you're called to do. I bet we can start another office on the other side of town. She'll probably help us, all the thing. The next morning I walk in, it's her and her husband sitting there, and I thought, oh man, I messed up.
They're firing me.
I'm like, I gave somebody something wrong, like, I
It's
don't
it's
know.
a really good kind of firing.
Yeah. And she said, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, she had been doing it about 21 years at that point. She said, I prayed and I asked the Lord to send somebody that was like-minded and that just wanted to help people. And here you are, 21 years old. Would you like to buy the business? We bought it. I had no credit. My husband was self-employed too. He was just starting his business. It was a miracle that it even happened. Worked for about a year and a half at this location, started growing.
Wow.
Brought my sister on as a manager. She started helping me grow, and the Lord gave me the dream of a multi-purpose clinic. And I was like, oh, that's cool for like 20 years from now. You
Right.
know, like I'm barely paying rent right now, like.
Look at the income, Lord, and
Yeah.
look at how things are not coming in, and
It's not making sense.
yeah,
We've
Yeah.
never lived there, Adam. have we?
never.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. God math never makes sense. I figured out.
Right on.
And so I was telling my husband, he's like, "Cool, let's start looking." And we found our new location, and it just happened to be perfect. I got laughed out of 2 banks. Again, at this point, I'm about 23 years old, and who wants to give a 23-year-old
A lot of money.
A lot of money. And with no credit, I barely had a credit card at this point, And the final one, I just said, "Hey," he was the president of the bank, and I knew it was ours, and said, "The Lord told me this, and if you don't want to give it to me, somebody else will." And,
Wow.
And he called me the next day. He prayed about it and said, "Yep, it's yours," and here we are.
Wow. So that's
He gave me
amazing.
the loan. Yeah, it was amazing.
That's so awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So tell us where your clinic is located.
So we're at 4633 North MacArthur. So it's 46 in MacArthur in Oklahoma City. Well, technically War Acres, but
And how long have you been in business now?
since 2013.
And what can people expect when they come into your place?
So our place now, actually the chiropractor, Dr. Bud, came with us when we first opened, and then he had to step out, and then he came back in a new location. And then, so when you come in, we have a whole store, vitamin, minerals, herb supplements.
The things you sell actually to help people, right?
And then I currently have 3 naturopaths, including myself, on staff, a master herbalist, and a counselor.
A master herbalist. Whoops, sorry, I just threw something at you.
Okay.
What's a master? We're going to go into a couple of different things. I think on your practice and your approach. I think it's amazing what God has done through you and in your practice and helping people. You have a name that's known all around town. And I think, and if people want to come in and get an appointment with you, Kenzi, what do they need to do?
Well, currently I am getting ready to go on maternity leave. I am not accepting new appointments right now, but again, like I said, I have 2 other naturopaths.
You have 2 naturopaths.
Uh-huh.
Do they just call your place?
Yeah,
What-
call, come by.
What's the phone number?
405-722-7444.
That's
And is there a
40
website?
Yeah, taylorsherbs.com.
taylorsherbs.com, and the phone number once again. Sorry for cutting you off.
Yeah,
Adam.
no, go ahead.
405-722-7444.
7444. Okay. And I love going into your place
Oh,
because everybody there is awesome, and I just want to hang out. Like-minded people, but just special people that like serving others. You have hundreds and hundreds of products on your shelf when I walk in. It's like one of those little health food stores that's just so beautifully clean and perfect, and you're overwhelmed by all the products. But a dear friend of yours, Dr. Brian Frank, introduced you to our company, Ultra
Yes.
Botanica, and you do some really interesting things as a naturopath. Tell us how you get to know that a product's going to work for someone, because this is fascinating to me.
Yeah. So our primary modality is called kinesiology, or muscle response testing. And I just kind of basically explain it of like, we're magnetic, everything's magnetic, right? And so something's either going to bring us up, bring us down, or just be a balancer, right?
That makes sense.
And so essentially we just ask the body if it's good, and are able to determine what everybody needs at that point.
So I've seen this before. Like, people are holding out their arm, and then you hold the product in one arm, and then you're asking the body to
Yeah.
give a response. Is this something good for you or bad for you? I'll go to a health food store sometimes, and I'll see people hold something right up against their chest, and they're like leaning forward and back and stuff like that. And sometimes they take it, and sometimes they put it back on the shelf.
Yes. Yes.
Is that kinesiology? Is that a form of
That
kinesiology?
is, yeah. We actually use the finger method, so the O-ring method with the 2 fingers. And when we ask the body a question, we give the body a stimuli. It's either going to be strong or weak.
Okay. And the strong ones are the good ones?
Yes.
And the ones that are weak are,
Eh.
body's like, meh.
Just not for the individual. So it's a more individualistic
So,
approach.
so did you test our technologies, our products?
Of course.
And what did you find?
It's super strong.
Really?
I actually was carrying another curcumin product at the time, and we would actually we have fun in our office. We'll put them in brown paper bags.
What?
And like
Really?
mix them around. And
Oh,
just
so
kinda
it's so it's not kind of like you have to see what the product. You can actually
no,
do this
no
in a blinded
yeah,
fashion.
no
Oh,
subliminal.
wow.
Yeah,
No
that's
subliminal.
great.
And that's the one thing I always say. There's no some people are like, that's placebo and all that. And I'm like, actually, it's really fun to see it in kids and animals because you have a great animal product too.
Yeah,
And I have 2 beautiful dogs that are like my children until
they
this
are
one comes.
they are children.
And there's no placebo in them.
Yeah,
They either
they're-
are better or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So
The dog's
it's
not
really
going to
fun.
pretend to feel better because you give them something that they don't know is a food or a supplement or a
Right.
drug, right?
Right.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
actually asked for it. It's really fun.
Really?
Yeah, my Great Dane especially.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna come back right after this segment, and we're gonna talk about some of these therapeutic modalities.
Yeah, once again, here we are in the Ultra Botanica studios in Oklahoma City. Adam Payne and myself talking to our special guest, Kenzi Taylor, who you've heard this amazing story. Please share it with friends. It'll be posted in different places. You can probably search for it online.
Ultra Life Today.